In this module, we look at the closure of the project, which may be a normal closure or a premature closure. The statement by Scott Adams is worth noting. A project is complete when it starts working for you rather than you working for it. You have done a lot of work on the project. Now you want the project to deliver the value that was envisaged. Normal closure of the project occurs soon after the project is completed and the audit report is presented to top management. But sometimes there could be premature closure because conditions may have changed or priorities may have changed and the project is deemed to be not worth completing. In some instances, there may be perpetual projects which seem to go on and on. People don't want to close the project, but there is constant change in budget, scope, and deadline. At some point in time, it's appropriate to initiate closure of such projects. A failed project which is unable to deliver would only drain the resources if continued. Now let's look at the tasks required to close the project. The organization has to spell out clearly who will be responsible for closure, when will the closure begin and end, how the output of the project will be delivered to the customer. As we saw earlier, the delivery of the project may take place in phases and may start even before the implementation has been completed. Acceptance of delivery by the customer may also take place in phases only after each module has been tested by the customer. The project is to be closed only when there is final acceptance of the product consisting of all the modules delivered. As part of the closure process, you should release the resources, reassign the team members, make sure all the bills are paid, and close all the accounts. In addition, evaluation of the team should address questions such as whether the responsibilities and performance standards, including which tasks each member is expected to complete, were made clear to all team members. Performance is to be measured in terms of time, cost, and specifications. In addition, individual team members should be assessed on his or her ability to work as a team member and the contribution made as a team member. Typically, discretionary authority is given to the team for managing short-term difficulties. The evaluation should look into the difficulties encountered during the course of the project and whether the team was able to get over those difficulties by appropriately using the discretionary authority given. The evaluation should also address the issue of career paths for successful managers and whether the team rewards were adequate and properly implemented. This is a sample evaluation team and feedback survey from the textbook. Some of the items for assessment include whether the team shared a sense of common purpose and whether each team member was willing to work towards achieving the project's objectives. Other items for assessment would be whether respect was shown to other points of view, whether differences of opinion were encouraged and freely expressed, and whether interaction among team members occurred in a comfortable and supportive atmosphere without antagonism, etc. In a functional organization structure, the evaluation of the individual member is done by the concerned area manager, who should get the project manager's opinion as far as the particular project is concerned. In a balanced matrix structure, the project manager and the area manager jointly evaluate the performance of the individual. In the project matrix structure, the project manager is responsible for the evaluation of the individual. A 360-degree feedback is sometimes taken. Basically, feedback is sought from all people who are affected by the work of the individual. Typically, this may include project managers, area managers, peers, team members, subordinates, etc. Some of them may not have interacted adequately with the member being evaluated to give appropriate feedback. So you should not insist on having feedback from them. Objective feedback based on data and subjective feedback should be separated. Subjective feedback may be at variance with objective feedback. To obtain the feedback, it is desirable to have a common format rather than keeping the feedback gathering session completely open-ended. At the same time, you should allow for general comments and remarks which should also be recorded. The individual team member may be first asked to evaluate his or her performance in terms of established standards and expectations that were made clear to him or her at the start of the project. A 360-degree feedback may then be taken. Typically, the project manager evaluates each team member individually and gives the feedback. The evaluator should be consistent and fair in the evaluation of all team members. During the feedback session, criticism, if any, should be on specific instances and behaviors and not on the individual personally. A 360-degree feedback is typically shared with the member being evaluated without giving the names or designation of the persons who have given the 360-degree feedback. A periodic review is one point in an ongoing process, and the project manager may have several reviews. Closure of the project should be only after the final review is completed.